This truck alone will make you become a truck person. I'm gonna show you why. Ready? Before we get into it, big thank you to Chanel from Mark, Thick, and Ford for giving us this vehicle to review. This is for sale. Check it out using the link in the description. So starting off on the front end of this thing, this truck has a lot of presence. When this thing will drive by you, you will not miss it. You know you're looking at a TRX. First of all, right in the front end, this one has a nice blacked out grille, and the black and white setup on this thing looks really, really good. This truck has a 3-level grille setup. You can see a massive one on top here where you have a blacked out RAM logo. You also have a second grille right here and a third little one down here. And this truck is very, very solid. It is meant to go off-roading and go through some rough terrain. Right when you just feel the materials up here, you know this thing can ram through stuff. It's a Ram. And even the hood design on the TRX is super, super cool. You have a nice black accent with a little white stripe that goes through it and an air intake to help feed air into that engine. But it's not just that. You also have heat extractors on both sides of this hood, and next to your heat extractors, you get a 6.2 liter supercharged badge. Now, once you open the hood, you are presented with all of the good stuff. This Hellcat engine is actually making 5 less horsepower than typical Hellcat engines that are in your Chargers and Challengers. This one makes 702 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. Now, this truck does weigh 6,400 pounds, which is 2,000 pounds more than a Hellcat. So it does need this power, but it can still move. It can do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds and the quarter mile in below 13 seconds. My one complaint about the presentation under this hood is the fact that it's ruined by this TRX cover. If you come to the side, you can actually see everything you want to see. Now, what I really like about this truck is, yes, it's a big truck, but it's not excessively big. I think it's the perfect size for what it is. So your tire widths in the front are going to be 325, and you also get these massive 18-inch wheels up here. And take a look at how thick these tires are. Remember, this is a truck that's meant to go off-roading. And just from the gap between the tire and your fender, you can see how much clearance this truck does have. This shot might give you a better perspective. I could easily fit under here. You could probably stack 2 of me before you hit the body panel underneath. You also get a nice air vent on the side that is open and functional, and you get a TRX badge. And again, continuing with the white and the black, I think this whole thing flows so nicely. And the same thing is going on in the back here with your tires and wheels. 325 in width, 18-inch, and absolutely massive. And you can also see the shocks inside of your wheel well, which is very cool. This thing does have a great suspension setup. Even the back of the TRX has an absolutely awesome design. I'm really not sure what this war badge is back here, but it does look cool. My favorite part is you get a Hellcat badge. Also, the bed back here is a pretty standard sized one, but it's definitely big enough to fit literally whatever you need. Besides, most people who buy trucks don't even really use it for that purpose. If I bought this thing, I wouldn't be using that much. I'd be using the interior amenities we're going to talk about in a second, as well as all 702 horsepower. Right on the side here, you also get another TRX badge, and you get these absolutely massive exhaust tips. And take a listen to how this sounds. Now that we're inside of the TRX, let's take a look at everything you get in here, and this has to be one of the coolest interiors I have ever seen. I can see why trucks cost this much, but this one with this engine and this interior and this exterior makes me understand why they're asking $80,000. For what you get in this truck, I think that's actually worth it. So right when you open up the door on this car, even the door panel has a pretty nice design. You get some carbon fiber, you get leather, you get stitching, you get your window controls, and you even get a Harman and Kardon sound system. Now, when you take a look at the seats, first of all, they're big, they're leather, they feel great. You also get the TRX badge right below your headrest in this truck. Now, when you do take a seat in here, you realize this truck had a lot of thought put into it. So first of all, the steering wheel is very nice. You get the Ram logo right in the center, and you have these very unique paddle shifters. I have never seen paddle shifters that look like that, but I think that's pretty cool. You also get another TRX badge right in your gauge cluster and an RPM gauge that revs up to 5,700 RPM, and it sounds so good. Now, here's one interesting thing. The speedometer only goes up to 120 miles per hour. In fact, this car is electronically limited to right around 116 miles an hour. After all, this is a truck that weighs 6,500 pounds, so I wouldn't plan on going 160 miles an hour in this thing. Now, right in between your analog gauges, you do have a digital screen, and in there, you can select which drive mode you want. We'll talk about that in a second, and you can just see a lot of information about the car in there, which is very nice. So, of course, this truck has a push to start, but if you look right below that, you'll see another another TRX badge, and below that you'll see a mode selector. When you shift through the modes, you can select a lot of very cool options. So when we start surfing through these modes, you're gonna see really what this truck was built for. So let's go ahead and run through it. So first of all, you have a custom mode you can set up. You have mud and sand, you have rocky mode, you have Baja mode, you have sport mode, which we'll do a drive on that in a second, or you can just select auto and the truck is probably smart enough to know what you're doing. Now, real quick, take a look at the center console in this truck. It is absolutely massive, and the one thing that stands out right away is the fact that you have a nice TRX plaque right on your center console. And this is your storage space, by the way. You can open it two different ways. The first way gives you a little bit of access to storage, and the second way gives you this absolutely massive storage center down there. And right in front of your storage space, you have two cup holders, your ability to switch from park, reverse, neutral, drive, and this even has a wireless charging pad. Even look at the trim around that area. I mean, this thing is absolutely amazing. And you'll also see right below your mode selector and right above your center console, you have a launch button. You can launch this thing up to 4,500 RPM. Now, we have yet to talk about the elephant in the room, this absolutely massive infotainment system. So first of all, if you go to comfort, you're able to do heated and cooled seats, 3 levels, by the way, for the front seat passengers. But if you go to apps, you are able to click performance pages and get the exact same system that is actually in Hellcats and Scat Packs. So first of all, if you go to timers, you're able to see all of the performance metrics for this car. You can time your 60 feet, your 330 feet, your reaction time, your quarter mile time, your 0 to 60, all that good stuff. And below timers, you can click gauges where you're able to see all of the temperatures and pressures that are important to this car. Below gauges, you have dyno/engine, and this provides you the absolutely awesome dyno graph that shows you exactly how much power you're using and how much of the RPM band you've used. And by the way, the power and torque gauge goes up to 1200. I think they're expecting you to mod this truck or something. Now below dyno/engine is G-forces. Click that and you're able to see your current G-forces that you're experiencing, as well as the peak that the truck has ever hit. Not to mention right below that, you can see your pitch and your roll. That's awesome. That is not in Hellcats and Scat Packs. And below G-force is vehicle dynamics, where you're able to see your steering wheel and some other cool information about the truck. This infotainment system is extremely responsive, and it's about as big as an iPad. This thing is great to use. But real quick, take a look across the dash of the car. It has white stitching, it has carbon fiber, it has so much cool stuff. You get more badges, and even on the dash on the passenger side, you get a TRX badge that's on top of carbon fiber. What is very cool about something over there is the fact that you have a hidden storage compartment right on the dash on the passenger side. But honestly, I would not mind being chauffeured in this truck because the back seats are awesome. First and foremost, they have a ton of headroom and legroom back there, as to be expected in a truck like this, but you also even get heated and cooled seats for both of your backseat passengers. Not to mention 2 cup holders and even more carbon fiber in the back. Again, big thank you to Chanel from Mark, Fick, and Ford. If you're interested in buying this vehicle, it's at a pretty good price and it does not have that many miles on it, only 22,000. Check it out using the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.